coming from. So
Well, every now and then you get a chance to chop it up with a guy named Scott Gilbert and explain to him that you swear like a drunken sailor every now and then.
good to know.
How you doing, Scott?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thank you.
So you got the blood going to the brain,
I got the blood going to the brain, and
got
I'm
some
glad to
oxygen
be
up
here.
there.
Oxygen's flowing. I could feel it. Feels great.
Talk about what you do because I think you were just tapping into some cool stuff and I want people to hear about it.
I have a podcast about manifestation and manifesting. And the truth of the matter is, I'm the last person I would have ever thought to be interested in this kind of subject matter. But the truth is I've been since I was a child, since I was born, I kind of understood this stuff even before I could speak the language. So I had this innate understanding of the law of attraction, but I didn't know that it had a name. It wasn't until the movie The Secret came out where I said, "Oh my God, holy shit, there's people here that actually understand the same thing that I understand." And that's the first time I ever heard the term law of attraction. So I have never shared my knowledge of this, my understanding of this, even with my family and friends. It really was like I would think of something, I would want it, and I'd watch it enter my life's experience. And that's since I was a child. So I started this podcast really just to basically record what I was now learning deeper about how all of this stuff really worked. And I didn't expect to get any followers. I didn't expect anything. I never even tried to market it or anything. And it wasn't until this year that I decided, you know what? People are emailing me. They're asking me questions. They want me to do more podcast episodes. So I decided to, open an Instagram account. I just did a TikTok account just 2 weeks ago. I'm just starting to get
Are you
followers.
starting to dance? You dance on the TikTok?
I'll do the dance, but really what's most important is I love answering questions for people and helping people really understand what this is all about because it's very real. It's very real. And even on my Instagram page, I have the highlights of all these celebrities who understand manifestation and law of attraction and all of this stuff because I think it helps a lot of people who haven't been exposed to the positive energy because we create that ourselves. So if you go over there and look at it, you could check out those reels because it kind of brings it to life when you see all these people that we know and respect from a celebrity perspective who are really trying to talk about if you want to get what you want out of life, you've got to think in terms of having it and stop talking negatively to yourself because that's the energy whatever you put out is what comes back to you. So what I do is I teach people in a very simplified way how to actually do that. And it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I decided to go all in on this. So, all my other business interests are now on the side as I build this out right now. This is all brand new, building it out right now.
So talk a little bit about how manifesting things has changed your life. What have you gotten that you've manifested?
A business, a boat, moving to
Oh,
another country. Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
I mean, I literally, this is how
What kind
crazy
of
this
boat, by the way?
sounds. A 30-foot Wellcraft sport cruiser.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't have it anymore. I had it for about 20 years, but because I'm not living where I'm about to move back to because I'm a landlord and I have property where I am. But like I said, I'm going back. I love the water. I love boats. I'm a scuba diver. I'm a guitar player. I love my hobbies. I've manifested all of that, but this is the coolest thing. I always wanted a boat when I was a kid. I don't understand, why I love it. Maybe it just innate since I was a kid, and I would picture myself actually cruising in the boat. It's going to sound like a crazy story, but it's true. I pictured myself in the head, which is a bathroom on a boat, peeing and holding onto a railing, looking out the window, watching the water go by on the Hudson River. And one day, shortly after I purchased that boat, I had a friend. He was up at the helm, had a pee, and I went in and it just bing. This is exactly the uh, the vision that I was holding, but I wasn't holding it like a wish. I was holding it like it was real. I didn't know, all the details of how manifestation works, but I was all of the things that are necessary. You don't have to believe in it. Everything around us is manifested. So that boat came from that vision, and I held that vision for a while. It was a couple of years. Then, of course, not of course, but my business. I had this crazy thing. I wanted to be in the business, and I had a tech business. And before I had that business, I was picturing, again, a very similar kind of thing. I was picturing an Oki printer, those old kind of dot matrix printers, if you recall. Everybody was going laser, but for some reason I pictured having that and checks coming out of it for paying all the vendors. It's a crazy, crazy kind of visualization, but that's what happened. And when I was in business, I I'm looking at it. I'm like, there's my printer printing it all out. And again, it was another visualization. Visualizations are not the only ways to go, but it's really all about feeling like you have what you want. And what we do is everything that we think, everything that's physical, a computer mouse, a phone, a pen, everything is in motion on a subatomic level. And this is proven by quantum physics and scientists and Einstein and all these people who understand everything's in motion. But our thoughts are also in motion. Everything is a frequency, everything's moving, and everything in motion attracts things just like it. So what's happening here is our thoughts are in motion. It's sending out a vibration on a certain frequency, and things that match it come back to us in the form of people, experiences, things. You ever pick up the phone and, or somebody just called you and you were just thinking about them, or you're thinking about something that you want and you turn on the TV and there's a commercial for it. We have impulses. We're being guided to do these things. And if you follow your guidance, we have an amazing guidance system, something I'll talk about too if you want me to. But I want to give your audience the most amount of value I could possibly give them. I want this little session to be enough for them to say, aha, I can do this. I can make this happen. I can make that happen. That's my intention. Is that okay, Chris?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Shall I go on?
Of course.
Okay, that sounds great to me. So here's the basics of how all of this works. Okay, we are consciousness. We are, we look at our skin and, this is real. Of course that's real. It's in physical form, but we are consciousness first, and we're eternal. And you may have heard that before. I'm not going to try to go into talking you into believing or not believing, but I'm sure pretty much everybody who's listening to this has at some point thought about, why do I think? Why am I here? How do I dream? Is God real? Is religion real? Is this real? Is that real? Well, I don't think many people have trouble understanding that we're consciousness. So I'm going to go deeper into that. We're consciousness before we're physical. So we emerge a piece of our consciousness, a tiny piece, into the physical body that we chose to come here to this planet. Yes, we chose to come here to this planet to expand. We'll go into that afterwards. So we remain in the non-physical right now, and we're in the physical right now. And when we are in our physical form, we have desires. We experience life. We have things happen that we don't like, things that we do like. We create a desire. As soon as we have a desire, it feels really, really good. It's automatically launched, and the other part of you, the non-physical part, I call it your inner being. You could call it your soul, your guardian angel, your higher self, whatever. People have names for it, but everybody will understand what I mean. But what it is, it's you in physical form, basically in the ethers. I mean, non-physical form, out there, everywhere. And as soon as you have a desire in physical form, you, the other you, which is you, the same personality, maybe not the same name, all right, but the same personality is basically saying, okay, you want that, I'm going to guide you to it. And that's what our emotions are. So when you feel love and joy and gratitude and happiness and eagerness and friskiness and, whatever, all these fun, happy emotions, you are in alignment. And some people call that in balance or grounded. You're calibrated in alignment with your higher self, with your inner being, with your soul. And if you follow that guidance, you will attract everything you want, because when you are vibrating on the same frequency as your higher self, that's when you're attracting. And whatever you think about, anything that you think about at that moment, your inner self, your higher self, is thinking about it at the same time. Now, if you're thinking, say, money, and you're thinking lack of
Who
money,
isn't
and how
thinking
am I
about
going to,
money these days?
well, a lot of your audience probably is, so it doesn't really matter. It could be finding a lover. It could be better health. But, let's just say it's money, because so many people do think about that, but it
Of
applies the same
course.
way to everything. So people say, all right, I want money, but I'm worried because I don't have the money to pay my rent at the end of the month. That worry is the discrepancy for what your inner being is thinking on the same subject of money. You're not in alignment. Therefore, at that moment, you're resisting your desires. When you feel the love, then, or the happiness or any positive emotion, you are, because your emotions is the discrepancy for your with your non-physical and your physical self. So a negative emotion means that you're at the other end of the spectrum, because your higher self will never guide you to something negative. It's pure, you're pure love in the non-physical state, if that makes any sense. So we only attract in the moment, the present moment. If you're thinking of the past and it feels like shit, you're thinking of something from the past, but you're feeling it right now in the present moment. If you're thinking something from the past that feels really good, that excited you, you're still doing it in the present moment. Same thing applies to the future. So it's kind of like a radio station putting out you're listening to a song. What a song was played before or what's coming up next really doesn't matter. It's this very moment, this part of the song that's moving in through time. And that's how our manifestations work. I really want to call it attracting, because we attract in the moment, and manifestations sometimes take time because there's other, circumstances and events that need to line up. But that's where we get these impulses, and other people get impulses, and then you end up, co-creating together, so to speak. It's fascinating. It really is just a fascinating thing. And the more I learn about how it works, the more excited I get to share it with people. And that's what my podcast really has been for me. But now that people are actually listening to it and want me to do more episodes, I am just excited to share that kind of stuff.
Sounds cool. So answer me this.
Sure.
A lot of people have fear to chase their dreams, and you've literally gone deep into manifestation. How did you overcome your fear before you started going down this path?
Well, I didn't share it with anybody. And I did have a fear, but the fear was about being ridiculed as a child, and then as a teen, and then as a young adult, because I really understood. I don't know how I understood it. I just knew that this is not something I should really be sharing with people. That I don't think people could really relate to it. And like I said, I'm the last person on the planet I thought I'd ever be teaching this kind of stuff. But I really know my shit, and I know it well, and I understand it. And like I said, I took it with me here. I've had the craziest spiritual experiences that if I told the world, I'd probably get locked up for being crazy. That's how crazy some stuff I've been through. It's just nuts. So the thing is that the way to get over it is to first realize that fear is an emotion. And when you're thinking about something and you're feeling fear, your inner being is not feeling fear. That's why you feel a negative emotion. Your inner being is only looking at the positive end of it, and you're feeling the fear, which means you have to release that resistance. Now, here's the good news, and your audience is going to love this. You don't have to release the resistance on that subject if it's really strong. If something has been bothering you and on your mind and it's building up momentum, all you got to do is change to a different subject that feels good. One of the things I personally like to do is I like to crank up some music, like rock from the 60s and 70s.
Metallica, little Metallica?
A little Metallica, a little, I just love music. Like I said, I play guitar as well. And music does it for me. I mean, taking a walk does it for me. Playing with my dog does it for me.
What kind of dog you got?
A wire fox terrier. He's not
I got
right
I got
now,
four of them.
No shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
Wow.
I said. That's what I said. No
crazy.
shit.
Wow, that's cool. But anyway, so the whole thing is you don't have to worry about changing that fear to a positive, like excitement. You can't fake it. You can't fake your vibration. You can't say, okay, I'm feeling good now when you're really not. But the good news is this: if you put your attention on anything that makes you feel good, you are now attracting everything in that moment that you want. You don't have to go back to the subject that's hard for you. So if you have a fear for whatever it is, I think your question was about fear for getting past this and manifesting your desire. First, recognize you are pure love. You deserve it. You're worthy of it. The only reason why some people don't feel that they are is because their society, people around them, even if they're well-meaning parents, People really express what they can't do, and a lot of people are not on your side. So if you're trying to get into manifesting things that you want, you're better off not sharing it with people unless they're on the same page with you, doing it with you, understanding it with you, like me. Join my community and you'll understand that. Um, so, you don't want to share that because you might be excited about it, and then they'll say that's all bullshit, or this doesn't work, or, even if they don't talk and they believe that, you could feel that energy bring you down. Once you have a certain energy, it's a dominant energy. Happy people tend to stay happy. Miserable people tend to stay miserable. Wealthy people tend to stay wealthy. Healthy people tend to stay healthy, and everything in between. Of course, we could be thrown off our rocker, but this is good news that I want to share, because since you tend to hold on to that momentum, it's hard when you start moving in the right direction to go back down again, especially when you have the knowledge of how all this universal law works. So it's really good. So if you're being depressed and you haven't been feeling good, slowly we'll turn it around. Once you start feeling good, it'll be hard. It'll just as hard as it is to feel good now. It'll be hard to feel crappy later. So it's definitely worth your time to work on yourself, because you are worthy of it. And once you realize that, you'll start to see things change. And I anything that you want to create in your life, you can have. And I mean anything. But if you don't believe it, you might have some resistance. So don't say I want to have $1 million if you don't believe it. Start with $10. And maybe you'll just find it on the floor the next day or whatever. Just
maybe you'll find it at the casino on the blackjack table.
There, or the craps table, which I prefer.
That is true.
Yeah. But the whole point is that, I could go on and on and on for hours about this. We only have so much time here. So I want to just touch on things to get people excited to realize that this is something you could have in your life. I don't care what it is: happiness, love, travel, jobs, relationships, anything, material items, cars and Ferraris and whatever it is that you want, or boats, whatever floats your boat, pun intended there. But whatever makes you feel good that you want, there's nothing off limits. If you have trouble believing it, then we're going to work on that. We want to work on that. But like I said, you don't have to work on the exact subject that you want to bring into your life. Just find your way to get happier and happier, spend more time. I like to tell people your homework is to feel good. But sometimes I don't go deep enough into what it takes to feel good. So what I said before is, if you want to attract money and the subject really turns in and hurts you, then just think about something that was really good in your life, or is really good, or something that you have, because everything around you is created by you. A lot of people don't, will have a problem with that. Well, what do you mean I created this? I don't want this garbage in my life. Well, you put your attention on it, and that's why it's there. The law of attraction is an exact science. All universal law is an exact science. Think of the law of gravity. If you step off the side of a building, you're going down every single time. It's consistent. It's not like sometimes it's going to work and sometimes it's not. It's not like it's going to work for some people, not for others. All universal law is 100% consistent. And the law of attraction, which is the most powerful law in the universe, which shapes our lives, is just attracting like vibration. If you don't have what you want, you're not in the right mindset. You're not in the right vibrational place long enough. So long enough. Let me touch on another very important part of this. When you are, okay, I'm going to call it 17 seconds is how long it takes to manifest, not to manifest, to attract. All right. When you have a thought on something, let's say I want a new phone. Okay. Just off the top of my head, I just looked down, saw my phone, so that popped into my head. All right. I want a new phone. All right. It feels good for the moment. That is your first manifestation. Your emotion is your first manifestation. It is a manifestation, and it does produce chemical reactions in your body to make the feeling the way it is. Anything that you think about your ex, think about where you used to live, think about what you want, think about the vacation you took. Every time something comes across your mind, your emotion will shift with it. So we do have the ability to change how we feel based on what we put our attention on. So what 17 seconds is that after that first manifestation, that attraction of that emotion, the combustion point of the universe is every 17 seconds. So if you could stay in a good feeling place for 17 seconds, it's going to dovetail together, attract another something just like it, another thought, and it's going to double, literally double. So now you have, if you can hold that for 17 seconds, it's going to double again and double again. If you could hold for 68 seconds, which is 4 times, you can already begin to start to see changes if you are really looking, you know?
Have you ever thought about doing like a live workshop?
Yes, I'm planning to do that in my community. I just like I said, I just put all of this together, and so therefore, I got to work out the nuts and bolts, and I really want to listen to my audience and arrange it the way you guys want it, essentially. And we'll do a live workshop there. That's why I created the community, actually. But there'll be all kinds of content I'm putting in, and of course, like-minded people interested in manifesting who could help each other, answer each other's questions, share each other's wins and losses and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm allowed to give my link to that
Give
or
your
not.
link. We want to help elevate you.
Okay, it's thinkblissful.com/everything. That'll just take you to everything Think Blissful. It's actually a Stan store, which is stan.store/thinkblissful. Either one will take you there. And there's all kinds of things. I just built it out, so I can't even tell you what it's going to be there because I'm still working on it. I'll be putting more things in it today, but I did open the community there, and everybody should go check it out and join basically, so we could get something going and get these live calls going and answer your questions. Of course, you could listen to my podcast. There's a link to the podcast in there as well. There's a link to all my socials there as well, and you could ask me questions and I'll answer them on the podcast. I've been doing that for people from time
So,
to time.
Scott, I want you to wrap this podcast up by looking right into the camera. And I want you to tell one person, even if it's just one person that's watching this right now, something that will inspire them to make a positive change in their life using manifestation.
Whatever it is that you've been believing you cannot have, I promise you, you can. And I could help you do it. I give you the tools. You can do it. Anything. Should I go deeper?
No, that's awesome. I think that's great. Listen, Scott, I've enjoyed chopping it up with you.
I love it. I love
Appreciate it. We
the
got
word
to do
chop it
this
up.
again sometime, okay?
I would love to, Chris. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Hold on one second.
Bye, everyone.